Shalom, shalom. First off, I want to start off by giving all the glory, infinite praise, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that do rule and teach well. Peace, love, and salutation to the hopeful elect that is out there pushing this truth and all sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth, giving diligence to make your calling of election sure. Shalom. This is your brother Hashah from the Great Millstone, Savannah Camp. Come back in the spirit with another lesson, Lord willing, I pray and hope that it's edifying and exhorting. All right, and I want to do this lesson. All right, going into the 250th year of America. All right, and it's people are trying to celebrate this weekend. They're going to celebrate the birthday, the 250th birthday of this nation. All right, which America was founded on July 4th, 1776, I believe. So it's this is the 250th birthday. All right, so let's hear at Great Millstone. All right, we don't believe that there will be too many too many much more Fourth of July's or we our earnest hope and expectation is that Yahweh Shem Shai. All right, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jesus Christ. All right, bring an end to the reign and the rule of this wicked kingdom, right? Which Babylon the Great is America in the scriptures, okay? And the Lord all throughout the scripture speaks about his indignation toward Babylon the Great and how his determination is to destroy, all right, which we'll get into. All right, so I went to ChatGPT and said there isn't I just asked it how long do most empires last. It says there isn't a fixed lifespan for empires, but historians have noticed some broad patterns. On average, many major empires last roughly 200 to 300 years at their height, though there are significant uh, expectations exceptions to lock in, depending on how the empire is defined. All right, so you have the Roman Empire, the Neo-Assyrian Empire, um, like this empire, the Persian Empire. All right, the Neo-Assyrian Empire, the Persian Empire, the Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire, which we know that was Jake, the Mongol Empire, the Ottoman Empire, and the British Empire. Right. Um, Dang. They had more on here. I don't know what happened to it, but anyway, let me see if it'll reload. Um, basically what it was saying that there's an average lifespan of about 250 years, which was the 250 year here it is right here. I don't know why it was acting weird. Okay, it says, why do empires decline? Although every empire is different, historians commonly point to a combination of factors: economic strain and heavy taxation, which is currently taking place in America, right? Political corruption or succession crises, right? Which political corruption is definitely taking place in America. We've seen the release of the Epstein files, which contain many politicians and even the sitting president of the United States. It says military overextension, right? The military is definitely overextended in America. All right, and we've seen this during the Iran Israeli conflict, where you had America that was, they have these different military bases all over the world. Well, they had to confidence, basically what do you say, consolidate all of their defense forces around their so-called greatest ally, the Israeli nation. Okay, and they were taking missile defense systems away from different bases and putting them in the Middle East. So that's an example of overextension. All right, it says internal division and or civil wars, right? Which we haven't seen a civil war, but we know, um, that through the spirit, there's a lot of division in America on political views, racial views, and class. Okay, and these things, when food is scarce, when the money, because really and truly money is the only thing that is keeping the American people going. The fact that they can still pay their bills, all right, the fact that they can still go to work and relatively buy food cheaply, relatively cheap, all right. But as soon as that ends, all right, there will be civil wars and class wars, all right, race wars. Um, it says population decline or demographic changes, right? Which we're seeing that as well. This is a reason, a big reason why ICE was being pushed early on in the Trump administration, right? Uh, technological shifts. Of course, man, you have um the introduction of AI technology, these data centers, and robotics, autonomy, which is going to replace a lot of jobs and put a strain on America's middle class. So we're coming into some very, very, very perilous times, all right, of political, not only political, economic strains, all right, which can very well indicate the end of this empire. So this is why this lesson is being done right now. All right. It says pressure from rival powers or invasion. Woo! Which is big, man, because the American dollar is no longer dominant, right? Which is the same thing that happened to the Roman Empire and the denarius, right? We're seeing hyperinflation and inflation taking place right now on a high level. So these things lead to um, economic, not only Salakia, empires declining, right? It says many empires don't collapse overnight. Instead, they gradually lose territory, influence, or cohesion over decades or many centuries. Is there really a 250-year rule? A popular claim is that all empires last about 250 years. While this idea is often repeated, it isn't an established historical law. It comes from observation that several influential empires happen to have periods of peak dominance lasting around 2 to 3 centuries. However, numerous empires, such as the Byzantine Empire, which is prophesied in the scriptures, right? Which this is the scripture that I had on deck, right? That 1,000 year period was prophesied, right? Revelation 20 and verse 3. Actually, I'm gonna start at 1. It says, and I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand, and that bottomless pit is Europe. All right, this is the place, and the reason why it's the bottomless pit is because both world wars took place there, right? There was a lot of destruction, a lot of people died in Europe, right? It says, and lay hold on the dragon. Who is the dragon? Esau, Edom. All right, those European nations, the EU. All right. It says that that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So that 1,000 year period, the Byzantine Empire is prophesied in the scriptures, right? For him to be bound, right? And this is why they call the Byzantine Empire the Dark Ages, right? Which is a play on words. All right. And they try to say that there was no technological advancements. No, there was just no technological advancements by the so-called white man because he was in chains. He was in a state of servitude, right? He was brought low. It says, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut it up and shut him up and sealed and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more. Why? Why? Because that nation, I mean that empire came after the Greeks, right? And the Romans. So uh, basically he was not able to rule, and we know that, by experience, Esau rules through deception, right? Through pseudoscience, through lies. Okay. So he wasn't able to deceive for that 1,000 years. It says that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And those 1,000 years were fulfilled in the Byzantine Empire when it fell in the 1400s. Okay. This is where you get the creation of the Bible, right? Which was authorized by King James, a so-called black man, right? It says, and after that, he must be loosed a little season, right? And what we're living in now is that little season where Satan, right, the so-called white man, Esau Edom, is loose, okay? And he has been ruling, all right, through this third leg of his empire, which is the Roman Empire reincarnated. All right, he's been ruling here on the Western Hemisphere, in North America for 250 years, um, as Babylon the Great. All right, but even longer as the British and these different colonial nations, all right, which are vassals. Um, basically, America is a vassal state to Europe. All right, so what I want to go into, I want to go into Psalms 49 and 11. It says, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names, right? And we know that this land right here that we're in, America, right, is named after a Spanish, I believe it's a Spanish or Italian explorer, Amerigo Vespucci. All right, which when you go into his name and what it means, right? Amerigo, right? Which amargo means bitter. Marigo, right? Or myrrh is it's a very bitter herb, and it's like something that's very bitter. All right, America is a bitter land, right? When you go into, especially for you Israelites, the tribes, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. This is a very bitter place. This is a very bitter captivity where you don't, you have Israelites who don't know who they are, right? Um, you have, basically hardcore slavery, captivity, taxations, you know, like the Chat GBT mentioned, right? And this is why this place is gonna be burned, all right, with fire. Um, let me get that too. That's with great violence. Get that, man. Which this place is gonna go out the same way it came in, man. All right. Revelation 18 and 21, it says, and the mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with great violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down and shall no more be found at all. Right? And the voice of harpers and musicians and pipers and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all indeed. And no craftsman of whatsoever craft he be shall be found any more indeed. And the sound of a millstone shall no more be heard at all indeed. Right? So no more working, no more musicians, no more everything that goes on here is going to cease to exist, right? Um, so their inward thoughts are wrong. Their inward thoughts are inaccurate, that this place is going to go on forever, that it's going to remain untouched. This place will be touched. The Heavenly Father will avenge uh Babylon the Great, right? Lock it, what's going on with that. All right, that's why I don't use this app. Um, Matter of fact, I want to get the rest of this. It says, "And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were great men of the earth. For by thy sorceries were all nations deceived." You see, and like we went into earlier, man. This is how Esau Edom rules. He rules by deception. All right. He rules through propaganda, through lies, through media, through mediums. Right. How is he able to get everyone to take you know the the C-19 jump shot through deception, right, through his media. How was he able to fool the world into thinking that he went to the moon? Through his lies, through deception, right? How is he able to, sit at the seat of justice and morality while also being one who, basically is against all those things, man? Is actually opposed to those things, right? While pushing all manner of sorcery and witchcraft on the world, right? Through deception. It says, and in her was found the blood of the prophets and the saints, and all that Salaki, and of all that were slain upon the earth. You see? So America is the place where the saints, the prophets, all right, which are the Israelites, were found, man. And this is how you know this place is going down, man. It's prophesied to fall, right? And we just read, right, because of her sorceries. It says, come sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon, sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, which the modern day Chaldeans are your technocrats, all right, your rich elite class, which they are now calling the Epstein class. These are your Chaldeans. It says, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones, which you just read, right? This verse is directly correlated to Revelation, right? Take the millstones, grind the mill, right? Which the millstone just goes into uncovering, right? When you want to take paint off something, you grind the paint down to get the underlayer, you know, to see what's actually there, right? It says, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yeah, thy shame shall be seen. And this is what's taking place right now. The shame of America, the real what do you say, the light is being put on what white supremacy is, how this place was gotten, all right, and what it's actually standing for, right? Which is the opposite of what it's claimed to stand for, right? It says, I will take vengeance. I will not meet thee as a man. As for the Redeemer, Yahweh of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel, right? The Lord of armies, all right, the Lord of war. All right, God, you people think Mars is the God of war. No, Yahweh is the God of war, right? It says, sit thou silence and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. And this is what even when you go into the Statue of Liberty, right? The lady, it's a lady, Lady Liberty, and that's supposed to represent America, this place of freedom. No, this is the place, the home, the home of the slaves, you know, and everything that people are coming here from Europe, um, and they're seeing and they're experiencing everything that slaves built. Everything that you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans built. Everything that's good about this society came off the backs, the blood, sweat, and tears of the tribes. It says, I was wroth with my people, I have polluted mine inheritance, and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou heavily, very heavily laid thy yoke. And thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever. And that's the point, right? So that thou shalt so that thou didst not lay these things to heart. Neither didst thou remember the latter end. And you didn't remember the latter end. When you were, doing all manner of wickedness, when Christopher Columbus, came and met, the Northern Kingdom, right? He said these people are, they're very nice and hospitable. He said they're docile and they will make good slaves. Okay, but you didn't lay to to heart, to mind. You didn't put it in your mind the latter end of that, what that meant, right? When you were going to take the the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and put them into slavery and build your empire on their backs, just like all the other nations, right, that failed, that did that. You didn't lay those things to heart. You said, I'm gonna be this forever. Your pride is lifted up, right? Even now, okay, even now, you don't think he's gonna go down. You don't think that anything is gonna, this American empire is just gonna continue forever. All right, if the American empire don't go on, the European empire will go on. No, man, or the Russian empire will go on. No, the so-called white man is about to be brought into a low place. Okay, the roles are going to be reversed. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. This is the prophecy of the scriptures. It says, therefore, hear now this, thou that are given into pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall uh, I shall Salaki, I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children, but these two things uh shall come unto thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries, right? Which we just read in Revelation 20, right? The multitude of the sorceries of Babylon the Great. It says, and for the abundance of thine enchantments, right? So the Lord is going to bring this place down, man. This place is not going to continue to go on forever, and the Lord is going to be completely justified and destroying it, man. So, for you, you so-called Americans, man, enjoy your 250th, you know, so-called birthday, and may Yahweh Shemi Shai bring upon America a swift destruction, man. So with that, Lord willing, this is edifying and exhorting. I want to end off by giving all the glory, infinite praise and honor unto Yahweh Shemi Shai, Shema Dash, the water, to the elders and apostles, double honors. To the elders and apostles of the great millstone, peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect.